Hey, and welcome to Turo Fitness Podcast, a podcast for people who want to get no BS information about fitness and know that fitness is about so much more than losing scale weight. It's about feeling confident in your skin and empowered in your life. I'm your host, Turo Virta, personal trainer, strength and nutrition coach, and most of all, a husband of my beautiful wife, Miriam. Each week, my guests and me will give you some no BS fitness tips and motivate you to take action in your own personal fitness journey as we talk about nutrition, exercise, mindset, personal development, and executing in life with enjoyable but still effective strategies. If your goal is to look better, feel and be strong and experience transformation from inside out, you, my friend, are in the right place. Thank you for jumping in, and now let's jump into today's episode.
Hey, and welcome back to the Turo Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Turo Virta. And before we dive into today's episode, I want to share something very exciting, at least for me, as this podcast, Turo Fitness Podcast, was recently named number one in a top 25 nutrition podcasts in Italy. And that makes me feel like that, wow, this was very, very surprising. And that recognition means a lot to me. But more importantly, it got me thinking about how much culture shapes the way we eat, the way we think about food, and even the way we see health and fitness. So and was I'm not a big person to pat my own back, but this was for me it means a lot, and it's just because sometimes it feels like that you are recording these podcast episodes, having guests, doing solo episodes, and there is some people joining. I get some emails. Or Instagram messages about podcast episodes, and of course, every single message warms my heart, makes me feel like that this is not for nothing, and goes often like myself too. I recently sent an email to my favorite podcast host and thanked him for amazing episodes and amazing content, because I truly enjoy listening podcasts, and when I'm preparing my breakfast smoothie, or when I'm walking or driving a car, and that goes often. We are listening. Taking some takeaways, and I think that, wow, this was so great. And then, you move forward, you don't say thank you. And it's for me, like, I don't expect anything of that, but it's just think as sometimes it feels just great to have that kind of little feedback every once in a while. So thank you. Like I said, I don't expect anything. I do it because I love doing it. I love if even one person is listening this. I really enjoy doing it, and it's all what matters. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here, and thank you so much for, even if you never sent any message or shared any episode, or you didn't leave a review. All what matters is that you are here, and I hope you get at least one takeaway from each episode, or whatever it is. So thank you for being here, and that really means a lot more than you think to me. So today I want to take you on a little journey. So comparing the food and lifestyle culture in Finland, where I grew up, and Italy, where I live now, and what that can teach all of us about building healthier relationship with food and fitness. So let's start with something very simple, like a food culture. So in Finland, meals are often functional. Like when I was growing up, food was more fuel than enjoyment. And eating was something you did quickly in between work, after school, or after sport. And it was more like that, you gotta eat. And it wasn't like you didn't really like in Finland. We don't, or at least where I grew up, we didn't think like that. What we are going to eat, or it was just to fuel something. That you have a food, you didn't think about it. It could be a faster option. It could be maybe you did some food like in Finland. People like to cook, or at least when I used to live there, I love to cook like for 2-3 days. Like I did it, like when I do it for several days, so I don't need to cook every single day. And that is the difference. In Italy, you basically never you cook every time fresh, and you are not doing like for that you have the same food for whole week. And there are benefits and disadvantages in both ways. And but this is it's just the culture difference. And what is other very big difference is drinking, especially alcohol. It's in Finland. It was, or at least it was for me, it was social escape, something. And sometimes, or it was always when I was younger, it was very heavy on the weekends. And in Finland, like you were not drinking like in 11 a.m. or at noon 1 glass of wine, or with the food. Like maybe now culture has changed. That's a while ago when I lived there, but it was like that if you saw somebody like in the morning, like 10 a.m. drinking glass of wine or beer, you were like looking like that. Oh, this person have been out last night and having still hangover, and drinking now to feel a bit better again next morning. And in Italy, that's kind of normal thing, like that, you are enjoying time with the friends and having your aperitif or something in early morning. But it's the difference is that in Finland or in northern countries, I feel this is not that this is the same thing, like that people are like and it's I recognize myself like that, it was earlier, it was like that when you drink 1, 2, and then you are like that, oh, now I want to get third, I want to get fourth. And comparison to Italy is that you drink 1, maybe 2 glasses of wine or beer or whatever, and after that you said, oh, I start to feel drunk, now it's time to stop. And that is a huge difference between, like, for example, with the alcohol. And that is when I moved with the meals. The difference is what I recognize is that meals in Italy are events. So you sit down, you enjoy, you connect with the family and friends, and every weekday lunch might be maybe it's a proper plate of pasta, some vegetables, bit olive oil, and that is the key lesson. When I think these things back, that so, and if I think like the kind of the diet or food culture between what is the difference between Italians and northern countries, is that Italians don't label pasta as a bad or a pizza that it's bad, or olive oil as a fattening food, because food is seen here as a part of life. And because of that mindset, overeating and guilt around food looks very different than in countries where dieting is constant. Like here, of course, people have weight loss goals. It has become an issue here, but I feel like that if it's just, I don't have any statistics on this, but if I look people, like, of course, I try to, when I go visit my family, for example, in Finland, I try not to like judge people or anything like that, but it's just that, of course, it's part of my work. And you are looking like and it's interesting to look how people are, like what they are deciding, how they are eating, and of course in the physical appearance too. Like of course people are bigger people have more like health issues, or they have struggles to perform like a daily tasks, and of course if you go to America, that is another extreme, like and it's just that you are looking like that, how where it is all this coming from. Like of course, like now I don't have any stats, but I'm pretty sure if I would take a look some stats like on BMI BMI, which, by the way, it might not be the best possible way to measure your how healthy person you are. But just in general, that's how I feel like that in Italy, people are kind of living in most of the people kind of healthier than in northern countries or in America. So that is the way I think that what is the reason is that the way how we are framing that food culturally that affects whether we see it as an enemy or as something to enjoy in balance. So then I want to talk a little bit about lifestyle. So in Finland, sports are huge. Like ice hockey is the number one sport. There's a lot of cross-country skiing. Being active outdoors, like especially like even the weather is not as great as in Italy, but what is the difference? Like in Italy, daily movement isn't built into that culture that much. Like of course, it's understandable. Like if I think like that in Italy we have winter is coldest time where I live is maybe there's a 1 month couple degrees of minus, and in Finland you have like I don't know 6-7 months of minus degrees in month of November. Luckily I haven't been I think once in the last 20 years in November, so I kind of forgot it, but it was a month that you could basically scratch from your calendar if you could, because that was it was so dark. Weather was like maybe around zero, little minus, little plus, a lot of raining, and it's not very tempting to go out for just a daily walk. And here, if I think like we have, I'm that lucky to live in that kind of place where we have like 90% sunny days, weather is amazing, and it's a different thing go for a daily walk when you are actually enjoying getting some sunlight, or if you go like that you gotta go when there is a raining, windy, everything. So it's that's a huge difference, and I totally get it. It's not easy, but what is the other thing is that in Finland is that daily movement isn't built into that culture. So you are driving long distances, sitting in offices, then compensating with 1 or 2 hard workouts, and that is very common. Like that, you are not thinking like the daily activity. It's counted as that either you work out hard or you don't. You don't do anything. And in comparison to Italy, you see something very different. People are walking more. So the movement is built into that daily routine. You are going for hikes, like especially weekends. Of course, that's something, what is a lot easier to do here when you have like where I live, it's middle of the mountains. You have great opportunities, possibilities to go for a longer walk, but also for me, like, walking to store, getting a 5-minute walk after lunch or dinner, taking stairs, and even small things like standing at the bar for a quick coffee instead of sitting down. Those are things like in Italy, like in Finland, you barely never see someone going for a bar and having a quick coffee standing. In Finland, if you go for a coffee, you take your coffee, you sit down, and they are things that they are adding up. And the lesson here is that movement doesn't have to mean workouts. So it's all about building those small sustainable habits into the daily life. So you don't necessarily need to run marathons. You need to find a ways to integrate that activity naturally, that it doesn't feel hard. And that is, I feel like that is the kind of biggest difference. And if you look like how much it matters, because most people think that you have that certain amount of exercises, what you have to be doing, or it doesn't count. And I was that person too. And now here I think that I don't actually need hard workouts very often. It's 2-3 times a week at most, and then the rest is just the kind of softer, easier, like walking. And I'm working with the clients from both countries, from Finland, from Italy, from basically from all over the world. I have been lucky enough to work and compare these cultural differences in the States, in Australia, in Asia, and working with people. And of course, it's totally different. Like, depending, I totally get the point. Like somewhere it's not safe to go outside to have a walk. Like I have to say that I'm lucky to be that person, to have possibility to walk in the nature, go outside, and not being scared of your life, walking in some dangerous neighborhoods. So that's totally different. Or I don't have that struggle to go for a walk when it's raining and windy, and you are like that. Oh, no way. So that's a huge difference. But then there are nowadays, like if you think like that, how that technology, everything is becoming easier. It have to be like that there is tools for everything, that just you don't need to walk. You can take a rollerblade or drive with the car basically anywhere. There is not even walking streets where you could be walking. So it's not easy, but there are like those kind of things. Like if your work is sitting on a desk, could you having some walking pad? Could you plan actually your walks in getting up from your desk, doing some couple of stretches, like those all kind of small things, which are actually made also to build, because most of the people, they look comfort. You have to have comfortable home. You have to have everything is about comfort. And I feel like that because it's your health. You have to deserve it. It's not, there is no way around it. Like, it's nice to have, to be able to have those comfortable things. But if it's too much about comfort, to not do anything, not moving your body, you will pay price for it. And that is those prices are coming with your health. And because there are no, unfortunately, even medicine have got a lot forward. It's not still your health you earn with your own actions. And it's always that most comfortable way is not always the best possible way for your health. So what is the other little bit about mindset, and what is the other big cultural difference? And that is that kind of mindset. So in Northern Europe, honestly, in much of the Western world, the focus is often on body size. So smaller, leaner, lighter, and that's the goal. But in that Mediterranean culture, like strength, vitality, and enjoying life often come first. So you will see people eating gelato without guilt, but also living long, active lives. So, and that there is also actually science what is supporting this too. So that's why they call like something called like Mediterranean in diet. I'm sorry, I'm bad pronouncing this, but it's one of the most researched patterns in the world for healthy and longevity. Not because it cuts the entire food groups, but because it's balanced. So what it means, it's a lot of vegetables, a lot of beans, olive oil, fish, whole grains, but there is still room for wine and dessert. So maybe instead of obsessing over that restriction, we should ask that how can I create that lifestyle I can actually enjoy for decades? Because that's what really matters. And if you think that we're here, like what is if I think my regular days, how much more vegetables we are eating, like, for when I lived in Finland or when I visit Finland, you see that, they consider themselves like that, you eat a little bit greens. It means 3 slices of cucumber on your bread, or having a half tomato. But if you look like what is the recommendation, that is how much vegetables you should be eating. That is a lot more. You are barely getting anything. But of course, that's also cultural difference. It's huge difference how those things are tasting, how vegetables are tasting. Like here in Italy, I'm in a lucky place. I have my own garden where I can pick up in the summer months basically everything we are eating, and even in the winter months they come from somewhere like from Sicily or somewhere close. So you have access all year around for fresh vegetables. And countries like Finland, there is growing something for 1-2 months in a year, and the rest of the year you get all your tomatoes and salads. They come from somewhere else, and of course they are not tasting the same. So it's huge difference, but we eat also very little meat, and meat. I love meat, but now, like, what makes the difference is that what quality of meat you are eating. Because now, if I think that what kind of meat I invest for my own health, and we are eating quality meat, but it's usually locally produced, so it's local products. So you know where it's coming from, that it's not just the cheapest possible way, or like in Finland, that's a while ago when my wife when we went to supermarket and looked like all kind of meat options what was there, like they are in some kind of marinade, and meats like you have no idea, you don't even taste that meat, because in Italy we don't use any sauces or anything. It's just a pure, like just the meat, and then you cook the meat and then add sauces, but you don't even find from supermarket meat in some marinade or some kind of sauce, because that's for me, I feel like those are the worst things what you can do. And of course, if you think like that, that all comes from, like if you think that meats, they are it's also business. They they have to, companies need to make profit, and like this was for me when I was a student. Of course I wanted to get the cheapest possible option, and when you in a food, if you look for the cheapest option, that's probably not the healthiest one. But of course you don't have maybe funds or money to buy everything, so you have to think like that, okay, where I can invest. Like, it's not that you don't need it, but in some cases, like especially for meat and those things like that, I rather have it a bit less and then eat it only with the quality what I know where it's coming from, and it makes such a big difference. And now, if I think like that earlier, I was thinking that it doesn't even make that big difference, but now if I go to restaurant and have some meat, like, and it's that it's not costing a lot, and you taste it, you taste the difference when there is a quality meat, or if it's a bit less quality, or so it makes such a big difference. So but what is then in my experience, because I lived in both cultures, and I worked with several people from all over the world, and with the different cultures. And that is the interesting thing what I have learned in from working with the people from so many different cultures, is that those principles, they are still always the same. And what I have learned is that from Finland, I learned that discipline, structure, and the importance of training hard. And that is kind of what is missing in Italy. So in Italian people, they are not very disciplined. The structure might not be as much as in Finland. Like, they love to say here that, we do it tomorrow, or don't worry about it. Like, and in Finland, it's all about structure, and I'm that kind of person. I love to have discipline. I love to have that structure. I love to know. I need to know what is going to happen when I can plan it ahead, and I know what it means to training hard. But in Italy, you learn that balance. connection, and that food is meant to be enjoyed, not to be feared. Because in Finland, like what is the biggest difference if I look, for example, I read news. News, what I try to avoid since COVID. But if you look like that, it's all those headlines. They are so clickable, made that they are causing usually fear. That there is something surprising, and when you read it, you are like that. Was it really worth of it? Not really. But you already know what they are aiming for. They try to get your attention. They try to get your time, and what is getting that kind of interest to click those things. It's some, fear or something what you might have, anxiety. And that is what I try to avoid. And that is something what I actually try to bring to my coaching and into this podcast. So it's not about having fear. It's not about one extreme. It's about blending the best of the both worlds and from all over the world, and thinking like that those are principles, tactics which are working in your situation. Like, of course, it's situations or life in the US or in England or in northern countries. It's different than it's in Italy. And I'm not trying to make you both. Like in Italy, you have different challenges, but principles of nutrition, like there are just the simple ways, simple habits you can always, they are universal. So you are getting your protein, you are getting your vegetables, you are getting your fiber, and then you are aware of your current habits, and then you find a ways, you are aware of your amount of steps, like you are thinking what is the one thing you could be improving. And it's not about being perfect, because we have all like this kind of that mindset that what you should be doing, what is kind of the good way or bad way of doing things. But instead of getting rid of that all or nothing thinking like that, what it means progress for me at this point. Like progress, it sounds that it's way too little. But for example, with the walking, for someone like I had a podcast interview with Sanna, who is from Finland. It's my old school friend, and when we started working, she was telling how is her life at the moment, and it was just an example. She said that she's not that active, but it's okay. She's going for a walk sometimes and stuff like that. But when we started actually to track it, how active she actually was, she was like, because we often overestimate all these things that we think that, oh, I'm doing okay, and but it could be better. But when she started to actually track her amount of steps, she realized that, wow, this is like, on a good day she might have 8,000 steps. Bad days were 3, 4, maybe 5,000 steps. And when she started with the purpose, with the right mindset, trying to improve it, not getting 10,000 steps or something, but adding that 1,200, 2,000 steps more per day and doing that for weeks, like it means that you have to intentionally go for a walk, thinking your decisions, what you make several times a day. Like, could I be parking further when I go for a supermarket? Could I go for a 10-minute walk? Could I add some steps there? All these things, they add up. And when she started to move more, making more intentional choices, smarter choices with her nutrition, she started to see amazing results. And it's all about, like, what is your situation, where you are at the moment, not trying to compare and see what you might be seeing in social media, that I gotta get that 10,000 steps. No, fuck no. It's all where you are at this point. Like, information is easy to find. You have Google, you have AI, all these tools, all coaches, social media. There are good information, there are bad information, but now I feel like that it's going in a better way. But finding ways what feels better or what feels feels doable for you in your situation, and thinking that, this health and fitness journey, this is a lifelong journey. This is not a marathon. This is not a race. There is no finish line like in marathon that you run, that now you did it. And then, you don't know what you do. Or like many people think that weight loss, I have that 5 kilos or 10 pounds, whatever to lose. And once you get to that finish line, it's kind of done. No, it's you still have something to do with that, but how you are reaching that makes that your goal, whatever, if it's for many people, it's a weight loss goal, how you are reaching it, it matters more than how fast you are reaching it. Of course, we want to get results faster, but I tell you from experience, working with so many people, there is not single client who have said that, fuck, I lost those 10, 15 kilos what I wanted, but it took way too long. And now I'm so disappointed. No, even they take, because it almost always takes a lot longer than you would like. At some point you are motivated, but at some point you will not have motivation. What it matters more is that you find that discipline, you find that way for you to keep promises, what you make to yourself. And that is what I learned from Italy. But you have to have also, that is kind of that Finnish consistency, but also being able to have that Italian enjoyment. So you can train hard and still eat pasta. You can build muscle and still share wine with friends. So the key is building habits that you actually enjoy, so you can stay consistent long term. And that's the cultural shift I think many of us need, moving from fear and guilt to balance and strength. So to wrap up this up, culture shapes the way we eat, move, and think about health, but we are not stuck with just one model. So depending where you are living, we choose the best lessons from each culture and apply to your individual situation, lives, and what is doable at this moment for you, because this might change in 5 years, in 10 years. And my challenge for you, I love to end this with a little challenge, is to notice your own cultural defaults. Are you treating food as a fuel only, or do you slow down and enjoy it? Do you see exercise as punishment or as a way to celebrate your body and things you are actually able to do? And what small shift can you make to bring more balance into your daily life? So thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And as always, if you want helping building that lifestyle that is focusing on your strength, balance, and long-term health, check out my coaching options at personaltrainerturo.com. Until next time, and remember, health isn't about being smaller. It's about living stronger, longer, and better.
Hold up, friend. Do you love Fit Me Turo Fitness podcast? If so, the best way to say thank you is to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review on iTunes. I know every podcaster wants you to leave a review, but it's because those reviews help the podcast to reach more people. I truly want to know what you think, and if this particular episode resonated with you, would you also please share it? Either send a link to someone who you think will find it valuable, or take a screenshot and post it into your social media and tell your friends and family why they should listen it. Make sure you tag me so I can hear your feedback and give you a little love. And if you aren't already following me on Instagram or TikTok, that's the perfect time to hit that follow button. Thank you for being here and listening to Fit Me Turo Fitness podcast.